Let's go, welcome back to Rise Invest. In today's video, we're going to be talking about this Bitcoin crash. I'll be explaining why you have to be very careful at this point in time because the S&P 500, the market is going to crash very soon. We are seeing signs that the bulls are actually waning in demand with bearish divergences forming on the daily and weekly time frame. So you have to be very careful. I will be going through my trades over here. I entered a Bitcoin short that is $10 million in value. It is currently in 1.5 mil of profit, and my Ethereum short is currently 573k in profit. In fact, for those of you who are following the channel, I actually said that I called this Bitcoin crash 2 weeks ago, and this is because of the Wyckoff method right here. So for those of you who are interested in joining the premium group, you can join down below today at riseoinvest.com if you want full access to my trading strategy as well as my 100x watch list. Okay, let's not waste any more time and let's go through Bitcoin right now. So I explained previously that Bitcoin was showing signs of a Wyckoff accumulation right here, and I've actually placed the accumulation schematic right here on the Wyckoff events and phases. Essentially, the Wyckoff method splits the phases into A, B, C, D, E. Currently, we're in phase B of the Wyckoff accumulation method, and essentially how Wyckoff method actually works is that there is a composite man, meaning that there is a ultimate market maker that pushes price towards the two extreme in order to capture liquidity, cause weak hands to sell off the asset for institutional buyers to come in and reverse the price towards the upside and make profit from there on, right? So you can see that this exact schematic is actually playing out in terms of the price action. In fact, I have not even touched any of this drawings over here for the past 2 weeks, and this is exactly what Bitcoin is following at this point in time, and I predicted this exact move. So we saw in phase A that we had a selling climax over here where Bitcoin crashed down to about 57k. Subsequently, we had an automatic rally towards the upside, a secondary test, and you will see that there was actually a secondary test in phase B. So you can see right here on the accumulation schematic, selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test, followed by another secondary test in phase B itself. So this is a clear accumulation phase that Bitcoin is actually in, and you can see that in fact Bitcoin is starting to plummet down towards the 50k region at this point in time. Following the accumulation schematic, you can expect Bitcoin to really consolidate at this area for the next few days before another drop towards the downside, where we hit about 62k over here to capture liquidity, and eventually possibly about the 55 to 60k region to capture another liquidity before the market maker or the composite man actually move the price towards the upside in order to stop people out again who are shorting the market. So all this has to do with liquidity, and this is the exact Wyckoff accumulation method that I'm sharing with you guys right here. So far it has played out perfectly as we actually predicted right here. If you take a note of the weekly time frame as well, you can see that in fact I think that this move will actually cause a very bullish move on Bitcoin. The reason is because as the Bitcoin price action comes to a new low over here and we form what we call lower lows on the price action itself. So let's say Bitcoin dumps down to 56k, we'll form lower lows on the price action, and what is likely going to happen is that we're going to have this higher lows on the RSI. So this is what we call a bullish divergence, and in fact this is exactly what we saw in the previous market over here in 2022 where we had the FTX crash, and I called that exact bottom as well because that there was a bullish divergence forming then. You can take note, this is the price action itself. This is the lower lows that are forming on the price action in the 2022 FTX crash. And what did we see with the RSI itself? We saw that there was higher lows on the RSI itself, showing that this was a bullish divergence. So I think that this is what is going to happen with Bitcoin in the coming few weeks. You can expect that the price action is going to hit downwards, forming a lower low in terms of the price action with a higher high on the RSI itself. And this will likely mark the very bottom of Bitcoin, somewhere around the 55 to 60k region. Followed by that, what you're going to expect is we're going to have this little bit of consolidation before we hit phase C, D, and E, before the market reverses towards the upside and we start a new bull cycle for Bitcoin. So if you guys are paying attention right now, mark out these levels, take note of this bullish divergence forming. This is one of the best moves you can actually trade in this market at this point in time. So what I'm doing over here is that I'm betting that Bitcoin will head down lower because of this Wyckoff accumulation method. But once we start to see this RSI bullish divergence starts to play out, this trade over here, I'm going to start to reduce the risk and I'm going to start to take some profit off of it, right? I've really made quite a bit of money over here, about $2 million on my Bitcoin and Ethereum short. So I think that we can make a bit more money as we head down, but we will need to take profits very, very soon. Now, I would also like to warn caution at this point in time, because if you take note of the S&P 500 right here, people are earning stocks, earning all-time highs on stocks, making a lot of money on stocks. But I think that the S&P 500 is starting to show a bit of weakness over here. So I want to show you guys right here that this is the daily time frame for the S&P 500 itself, and ever since we made the top over here at about 7.5k, the S&P 500 has been showing signs of weakness right here. So you can see that we have a higher high on the RSI right here, but on the a higher high on the price action, but on the RSI we have a lower high. So this is indicating to us that the momentum is actually starting to wane off, and you can see that the MACD is actually starting to cross right here. Just let me draw it up for you guys. It's starting to cross right here, and it's actually starting to head towards the downside. This is exactly what we saw previously before the crash over here from 7k to 6.3k. You can see that we also had a similar setup over here. We had higher highs on the daily time frame on the price action, and over here we had lower highs on the RSI itself. Right before the breakdown over here, where the S&P 500 actually dropped. So all these are signs that the market is actually weakening. The bulls are really starting to lose control of the price action, and there's a good chance that even though the S&P 500 can go a bit higher, be it 7.7k or 7.8k, this is likely not going to be a very extended move, and it's likely going to be traced towards the downside. I think that the entire crash is going to coincide together with Bitcoin itself, and it's going to be very, very bearish short term, but it's going to be an amazing buying opportunity. So for those of you who are part of the premium group, I'll be keeping you guys updated when exactly you should buy Bitcoin, when exactly you should buy S&P 500, and what crypto altcoins you'll be entering, because classically when the new bull market begins, usually the altcoins actually have a lot of momentum, and there's a lot of profit to be made off the altcoins itself, because the percentage increase is going to be much higher, 30 to 40%, as compared to, say, investing in Bitcoin itself. On Ethereum as well, you need to be very aware that we are forming quite a nice move of a bullish divergence as well. In fact, the bullish divergence has already formed on Ethereum right here. So classically, we look at the close of the candle, and you can see that we already form a lower low on the RSI, and we already form a higher high on a higher low on the RSI itself, and a lower low on the price action itself. Sorry, correct over there. But overall, this is very, very bullish. I think that this is a good indicator that the entire Ethereum price is going to hit upwards very, very soon. Okay, so that'll be all for today's video. If you have any questions at all, do drop it in the comment section down below. And again, if you want access to my 100x investment list, and you want access to my bull market strategy guide as well as all these trades, then do join the premium group down below at rizoinvest.com. Again, you have full access to myself. If you have any questions, do ask me as well. Okay, this trade, I'll keep it open, and I'll keep you guys updated in the premium group. And as always, invest safe.